A devastating day for former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who told reporters that the 15 rounds he went through of balloting in January taught him how to govern. Apparently not so much.
Jake Tapper, another Democrat agent on cable television pretending to be a journalist. Bom, 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 bom. All right, so many things to get to. On Morning Joke this morning. On Morning Joke. On MSDNC. They had the radical James Clyburn on. And it was the usual, circle fest. That is DNC TV. And amazingly, they have the radical left, that's to say the Democrat Party, has a recommendation for who should be Speaker. Other than a Democrat radical bomb thrower, Molotov cocktail making, child genital mutilating lunatic, a typical Democrat. They say James Clyburn on the Circle Fest at MSDNC said that it should be Republican Congressman Tom Cole from Oklahoma. So if James Clyburn and Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski think that the Speaker should be Tom Cole, the representative from Oklahoma, then obviously he's out of the running. So he's done. He's toast. Thanks for the recommendation, MSDNC.
So there are people on both sides that could do this. I think that
on both sides.
Their leader, I know he's having some health problems, but Steve Scalise is a great guy. I think that Cole would be a sort of the kind of tone that we would like to see.
The kind of tone that we would like to see. I'm sorry, what? Could you say that again? I got to tell you, we live in an idiocracy. It's an extraordinary thing. So that means Tom Cole is out. Scratch his name off the list. He's being recommended by senior Democrats in the House. So his bid is over. The names currently in the hopper include Jim Jordan. I mentioned Jim Jordan. He has thrown his hat into the ring and not recommended by James Clyburn or MSDNC. Steve Scalise, of course, we have talked about. In addition to Scalise and Jim Jordan, Tom Emmer, E-M-M-E-R, House member. Patrick McHenry. Now, Patrick McHenry is the one who is the acting speaker who's kicking Nancy Pelosi out of her extra office in the Capitol as though she's like the retired Pope or something. Kevin Hern, his name is being floated. Mike Johnson. Now, the radical left-wing extremists are, of course, floating the radical left-wing terrorist Hakeem Jeffries. I'm just matching their rhetoric. I'm just using the same rhetoric. Also, you don't have to be a member of Congress to be the Speaker of the House. Right? I could become the Speaker. Michael Piercy could be named the Speaker of the House, and then he'd be Speaker of the House. Because you don't have to be an elected official. You don't have to be a member of the House. It's an interesting constitutional rule. And so other names, now the leftists are Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Because Fidel Castro died. Otherwise, the Democrats might suggest him. Lee Zeldin from New York, who should be the governor there, but isn't, as Speaker. Jody Arrington is a name that's being floated. Don't know him. And Mike Johnson. Did I say Mike Johnson? I don't think so. And then, of course, Donald Trump. Donald Trump's name is being floated. And that would be a riot. I've got to say, that'd be a ton of fun. Stuff would get done real quick. It'd be all the networks would cancel all their programming. The View is canceled today, so we can carry President Trump as Speaker of the House, having taken over the House of Representatives, and then legislation would start moving. I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm telling you. Yeah, Donald Trump, and it is actually being recommended by at least one member of the House of Representatives. Elise Stefanik is her name is being floated, and I like her. I like her very much, Elise Stefanik. Also, Byron Donalds. Yesterday afternoon, Kevin threw his name into the hopper in our text thread, and I say, yeah, Byron Donalds, absolutely. His name should be in there. No doubt about it. It is Mailbag Day. It's Mailbag Day. Wednesday is Mailbag Day. It's Hump Day in the Clinton household, and Hillary has to get out of the house because, Bill gets it to himself on Hump Day. And traditionally, it's a Clinton family tradition on Wednesday mornings. Hillary Clinton wakes up face down on the kitchen floor in a pool of her own dried vomit with an empty cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her because, that's part of their thing. And then the Energizer comes over, Secret Service just leave. They got their own code words for that stuff, But here it's Mailbag Day. So let me get to, we're a little short on time today, but I got to get to the mailbag here because it's Wednesday. Abigail asks, it's kind of like taking calls, but a little bit different. Abigail asks, who would you like to be Speaker? Who would you like to be Speaker? I've got to say, I think Steve Scalise, and one of our friends earlier said it, he's literally taken a bullet for the team. He is battling cancer, but I believe that he's in a very good place now when it comes to his medical treatments, thanks to the patriarchy that the Democrats despise so much. But if I were to pick from the names in front of me, I've got to say Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, I think would be a very definite prospect, and really Donald Trump. Now he's busy with a lot of stuff, but he's a guy who never stops. And if Donald Trump say, "Hey, make me Speaker," and they'd actually vote for him and make him Speaker, that would be a time to remember in American history. That would be extraordinary. I would assume that he would say, "No, thank you." But it is an extraordinary thing to consider. There is no doubt about that. Kind of fun. Next, Devil Dog 0231 asks, why do the left and the media, but I repeat myself, that's what he wrote. He wrote it right here. Why do the left and the media, but I repeat myself, refuse to consider RFK Jr. as a viable alternative to old Puddinhead, forcing him to turn third party? Now, that's a good and fair question. And you're right when it comes to the left and the media, but you repeat yourself. The answer to that question, I believe, is that the Democrats have locked in with old Puddinhead, with Joe Biden, because he's their sock puppet and he's in the White House, and Barack Obama and these radicals are behind the scene dictating the open borders and destroy the economy and the energy sector and education and gender and create racial conflict and more crime and mayhem in the cities. That's Barack Obama and the left behind the curtain destroying the world because that is their stated mission and they're not on our side. But why do the left and the media, but I repeat myself, refuse to consider RFK? The reason is they're protecting Joe Biden. They're protecting their corporate brand, which is the left running the Democrat Party with a sock puppet front man in the form of Joe Biden in the White House and another clamhead over there, the Vice President of the United States, waiting in line. It's just to protect the party. And RFK, he upsets the apple cart. He doesn't sing from the sheet music. The Kennedy family, obviously, Democrat Party, two of them talk about taking a bullet for the team. His father, RFK Sr., of course, shot in the head by Sirhan Sirhan and killed. And his uncle, John F. Kennedy, shot in the head by a communist and killed, or by the CIA. They still won't release those documents. They should really release those documents. But it's just to protect the brand, Devil Dog. And they don't want anybody upset because they know he's fragile, Joe Biden. He's brittle, and his poll numbers are bad. And they think that RFK jumping in will be detrimental to the Democrat Party, and the media protects the Democrat Party, and they are the left. So, as you so correctly pointed out, amazing stuff. So it's protecting the party, protecting the brand, so they can continue to destroy Western civilization by going after what the left considers to be the head of the snake, just like the Ayatollahs and the radical Islamists believe that we're the head of the snake and the left is after us. And Joe Biden and behind the curtain Barack Obama are making great progress in destroying Western civilization. RFK could be a speed bump. Also, the Biden people won't give him Secret Service protection because that intimidates him and terrorizes him, and the left are a bunch of terrorist murderers, just like the terrorist suicide attacker murderer that shot Congressman Steve Scalise on the baseball field. Another Democrat suicide attack. Yeah, just protecting the brand. And fragile, brittle Joe Biden. Jim in Beaver Dam, Virginia. I don't think I've ever been to Beaver Dam, Virginia, but I want to go there because it's called Beaver Dam, Virginia. Jim in Beaver Dam, Virginia, you have successfully expanded on the old phrase, friendly fire isn't. It's true, I have, it's a phrase I picked up my 10 years at the Pentagon, of course, when there were lots and lots of combat operations everywhere you look. The Democrat Party isn't. See, it's the Democratic Party isn't. He's quoting me back to myself here. The Democratic Party isn't. Can we add to that, reproductive health isn't? We most certainly can. That is a corrupt, dishonest, deceptive euphemism that the left likes to use when they're talking about aborting tens of millions of helpless little children just struggling to be born. And the left, they love killing. So that's part of their program. And reproductive health isn't. I'm going to thank you, Jim, in Beaver Dam, Virginia. I'm going to add that to my list because it's true. Friendly fire isn't was the original. And then we added the Democratic Party isn't. See, the Democratic Party isn't democratic. Common sense isn't. Common courtesy isn't, right? There are a lot of them. And reproductive health isn't. It isn't reproductive health at all. It's organ harvesting, and it does exterminate nearly half the black population in the United States of America. And the Democrats give out awards for that because they're the party of slavery and the Confederate States of America. Fred asks, would you serve as Speaker of the House if you were drafted? And we were just talking about President Trump and others from outside of Congress being drafted to be Speaker of the House. I don't think it's very likely. But if there were a cry, a call, it's got to be Chris Plante as Speaker of the House, I would naturally say yes, and I would serve less than one term. I would serve less than one term, but I could get a lot of stuff done, and I could teach them how to message and how to pound the table and how to get stuff done for a period of time. But I think almost anybody could teach them that. Yes, I would. I certainly would. It would be a great honor. And I know I could get some stuff done and set an example on certain things. I think I could. Michael asks, what was the scariest day of your career at CNN? Surely you were in some dangerous situations while reporting as Pentagon correspondent. Scariest day. I don't, I've never really thought about it quite like that because I don't want to say I don't scare easily, but I don't recall being scared. Being on Sniper Alley in Sarajevo and downtown Sarajevo, flying in Marine Corps helicopters and, Saudi Arabia. I was never scared in Saudi Arabia, being up on the border with the 1st Marines at Khafji, before the invasion of Iraq. Scariest day. Jumping out of airplanes a couple of times, but we had parachutes, so it wasn't very scary. Flying fighter jets, landing on aircraft carriers, none of that stuff ever scared me. Being in a submarine, a nuclear attack submarine. I guess, there was still, I wasn't around. I was a Pentagon reporter more than a war correspondent. So I wasn't in the in the hot stuff most of the time. Task Force Eagle and Tuzla in Bosnia, there were still people shooting each other and snipers and all that stuff. But I was comfortable as long as the troops around me were comfortable. And I wasn't, I can't really recall. I think there are days in Washington, D.C. that might have been scarier than Bosnia. And Saudi Arabia didn't. I was only there for Desert Shield and not Desert Storm. Then I was back at the Pentagon for that. So not a lot of scaredy stuff, I've got to say. It's a fun question. I'm going to think about that, though. I'm going to think about it. Hillary Clinton doing corkscrew landings under sniper fire. Remember, and then the video emerged of her accepting flowers from a little girl there on the tarmac while everybody waved. That's, it's different being a Pentagon correspondent than it is being a war correspondent. Different roles. I've got one more I'm going to try to get to, one more mailbag, but I'm running out the clock on myself. You know that CBDs are everywhere. CBD, they're putting CBD in everything now, and my friends at Generic CBD have infused it into their #1 best-selling, deep-penetrating muscle and joint cream, and let me tell you, the stuff is amazing. Check out the reviews online. Everybody loves this stuff. Melts right into your knees, your elbows, your shoulder, your back, especially your stiff hands, your fingers, your knuckles. Goes to work in a matter of seconds. And even my best girl says, it's a really great moisturizer, too. It's right there on the thing. And the company is called GenericCBD.com. You've heard me talk about them before. They sell premium CBD products for less cash. And right now, you can try their muscle and joint cream for free. For free, I'm telling you. You pay $2.95 for the shipping and handling, but it's not a subscription and there are no strings attached. They just want you to try it because they know you're going to love it. You're going to get more for yourself and for your mom and for your best girl and for, people at work. It's GenericCBD.com. That's GenericCBD.com, GenericCBD.com. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or illness. Bam. Yeah. I don't know. I tend to think everything is exciting and, kind of fun. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Now, scariest day at CNN. Maureen reminded me, well, you were at the Pentagon on 9/11. And that's true. I was pulling into the north parking lot when the airplane hit the building. And then I did almost get shot to death by one of the Pentagon police officers who had me do the hokey pokey and get out of my Lincoln townhouse and stuff. But I wasn't actually afraid. I was doing jokes when he was holding the gun on me. Yes, scariest day at CNN. Yes, Maureen reminded. I didn't even think of it, scariest day at CNN. I was just thinking about overseas. But being assigned to the Pentagon at that time, my office was in the Pentagon, and arriving in the north parking lot in my Lincoln townhouse, dark blue, gray interior, very nice. And the plane hit the building coming in from the west, and I raced up to a guard shack, a Pentagon police guard shack, where normally there's a guy there, Sergeant Sawyer, who I'd talk to every day and say hello. And I raced up there and kind of screeched to a halt and hopped out of my car, started jogging toward him. And I had a business suit on and a tie, and I had a headset on with a wire going down my side to my cell phone, a folding Motorola cell phone on my belt on a clip. And as I was jogging up, dude jumped out, and it was not the normal Pentagon police officer who would have been in the booth that day. And he pulled out his pistol and bore down on me and had me, hands up, put your hands in your head, put your hands in the back of your neck, put your hands on the roof of your car, turn to the left, turn to the right, spin to the right, face me. And I said, do the hokey pokey and turn it all about. And then he barked at me a little bit. And everybody was on edge. It was September 11th and a lot going on. That was a moment. But honestly, I wasn't, my heart rate might have picked up for just a minute. And then I got back in my car, drove around to the other side of the building on Route 27 where the plane had crashed in, and talked to a cab driver there who had he had a Lincoln Townhouse too. And the plane had sheared off a street light, which smashed into the hood of his car, and he was very angry. He was Somali or Eritrean, and I talked to him for a minute about what he saw. Then I knocked on the hood of his car like that twice, and I said, well, I hope your insurance covers terrorism. And then I got to work, and I went jogging up to go into the hole in the wall to, see what I could do to help. It was moments after. And a U.S. Army guy in civilian clothes stopped me and said, do you have any medical training? Are you an EMT? Are you, and I said, no, I'm not. And he said, well, listen, if you don't have medical training, you should probably just stay out of the way. So I stayed out of the way. And I kept calling in to CNN to talk to them about what was going on there. But I've got to say, I was busy and focused on what I was doing, and I wasn't afraid. I was angry. Yes, I know it's a Lincoln Town Car. I always called it the Townhouse because it was so huge. With a 5-Tony trunk. Of course it's a town car. But it was a giant, still are, the old ones anyway. 1997 Lincoln Town Car. But I call it the Townhouse because, people could live in it. It was big car. And Brian says that my scariest day at CNN was I walked into the makeup room and there was Judy Woodruff without makeup. That might have been the scariest thing. The Townhouse. Come on, keep up. All right, let's go. Oh, and I do have one last from Helen in from Charlottesville,
South Carolina.
Charlottesville, and also from Cathead Creek. And Helen says, question for CNN and Chris: would you take over as CEO of CNN to save it, if asked to do so? That's kind of a funny. I don't think it's, but. What would you do to revitalize CNN, to revitalize it? How would you clean house? You'd really have to clean house and start over again. And I think it'd be hard to find enough people to staff it. Or is it a sinking ship that can't be saved? I'd say really, Helen, the truthful answer and the easy answer is it's already sunk, I think, honestly. I was reading their ratings the other day. They have, in the daytime, 88,000 viewers in the demo, as they say, 88,000 viewers. So like one college stadium of viewers for CNN. That's sad and pathetic. And it's all run by Democrat Party apparatchiks. I don't think it's salvageable. I don't think it can be saved. It'd be very frustrating if they, give me, say, $50 million and said, you can do whatever you want. It'd be really, really hard to get rid of Jake Tapper and Jim Sciutto and Dana Bash and bring in people that were straight news people, which are hard to find. That'd be a real challenge. All right, let's see. Man, oh, Manischewitz. So little time and so much to talk about. Let's take a call because I haven't gone to a call in a little while with all of the things going on today. And there's still plenty to get to. Let's go to George calling from Chattanooga, Tennessee. George, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi there. How you doing?
Hey, George. I'm great. What do you say?
Well, I was listening to you talk about Bosnia and stuff like that, and back in the day, and it made me call. I have a background as a B-52 navigator, active duty, but I got out and then went back in the reserves later, flying C-130s, and I was serving as an intel officer It was about 1993-ish, but they needed observers to go because they were resupplying the Bosnians up in the hills of Yugoslavia, and so we would take pallets of stuff down there and fly across the Alps and go across Split and land. But they'd also do these nighttime missions where, because they blocked all the roads into the mountains because they were trying to starve them out, we would airdrop stuff. But it was not in the traditional palletized, with a parachute and everything, because the pallets would be lost because the Bosnians wouldn't let you, or the Yugoslavs wouldn't let you go in and collect them again. So they were doing this they had big cardboard boxes that are about 4 by 4 and about 3 feet high, no tops, no lids, and they were full of MREs. And they'd take like 5 boxes of this at a time, and they would literally just have them run out of the back of the airplane and tumble, and then the Bosnians would go pick up all these MREs on the ground. That's how they were resupplying. That's how they were resupplying the Bosnians with food. Yeah,
the Serbs wouldn't let you bring food in because it's an old-fashioned Eastern European Soviet-style thing, communist thing, where you starve out your enemies, and the Soviets did that in Ukraine endlessly. We also did that Operation Crush a Kurd in northern Iraq when the Kurds were being starved out by Saddam Hussein. We were bringing in and dropping tons and tons of MREs and it was and pallets of food, and there were lots of tragedies when pallets would drop on the Kurds and they'd run underneath them and be crushed by them. It was a crazy thing. It's a crazy world out there. It's it was always great to be an American because we could see the rest of the world was mad and we were not. But now we've gone mad too, haven't we, George?
Well, it is a little distressing. You're quite right about that.
Yeah. And B-52 NAV, huh?
H models, the ones that are still flying.
That's right. Yeah, when they came online in 1960?
61.
Yeah,
the H models were 1960-61, and they're probably to go to 2040. And if they re-engine them again, there's talk about taking them to 2060, in which case they'll be 100 years old before they retire.
Wow. Amazing. Isn't that amazing? A Boeing aircraft.
Yeah.
I remember the wingspan of a B-52. The B-52 wingspan is 185 feet.
Yeah.
I've got trivia, all this trivia tucked away in my head.
What a lot of people don't know is compared to on the ground, when you get up airborne, the wingtips on the Buff actually go up 14 feet.
Right, they flap like bird wings. Yep, they flap up and down with 4 engines under each wing. The B-52.
8 altogether. Yep.
Crazy, man, crazy.
Great airplane.
I actually got certified to fly on the B-52 during the Iraq post 9/11 thing at Andrews. I went in and did the altitude testing and all that good stuff to get certified, but then I never got to go on a B-52 mission, which is a great disappointment. Got to tell you,
they were fun. It was very interesting. Of course, I did it in the era of the Soviet Union, so you'd fly your low-level routes at like 350 feet off the ground.
Wow!
And it was interesting.
It was interesting.
Big airplane.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for calling in, George. Saluting you, my friend. Good stuff. B-52. NAV, a 185-foot wingspan. They weigh I just remember. I'm not looking this up. 488,000 pounds empty. The B-52. This is from memory. A crew of 5, an unrefueled range of 5,000 miles when refueling, unlimited range. The B-52. Nuclear capable, of course. Don't be silly. All right, let's get back to. Thank you, George. God bless you, and the United States Air Force. Let's go to Stephen Miller. He was not excited about the expulsion of the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Stephen Miller of the Trump Organization.
Whether you like Kevin, whether you hate Kevin, wherever you fall on Kevin, the reality is that the Republican Party cannot exist as a functional party if just 8 members at any point in time can join with all Democrats to eject a speaker.
Well, it was the rule that was created, and it's a crazy place up there, I've got to say. By the way, Vivek Ramaswamy is pushing Donald Trump for Speaker of the House, saying we need to shake things up. That'd shake things up. There's no, and it's true, we do need to shake things up. There's no this business as usual status quo stuff should not be acceptable at this late stage. Stephen Miller.
If you want to be like the left, if you want to beat the left, if you want to dominate the left, if you want to save the country from the left, you have to learn from them. They operate as a unit. They operate as a team. They find their strength in unity, as a block, as a single block. Republicans, everyone acts like it's the model UN all the time. They're always debating with each other and caucusing and meeting here and meeting there. They have this idea and that idea. And then someone will randomly jump into a room and scream, balance the budget for no reason at all. They need to focus.
Then yell, balance the budget for no reason at all. He also suggested that when these omnibus bills come along, that Republicans should just throw everything that they want in there, just like the Democrats do, which seems to me is not the correct path. Stephen Miller.
You can inject Kevin, and you can replace him with someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. Here's what I don't hear. I don't hear a plan. I do not hear a proposal. I do not hear a vision to shut down our open border and to stop the Department of Justice from putting innocent Americans in jail for life.
These are major issues, to be sure, and controlling the House, and also now what's going on. I mean, it's just hitting pause, I assume, on the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden investigations, the impeachment inquiry, Joe Biden. Newt Gingrich knows a thing or two about being Speaker of the House, and he's not at all amused by Matt Gaetz and what happened yesterday.
Why did they think it was better to be two solid, conservative, continuing resolutions? You know why they did it? Because ultimately Matt Gaetz, who hates, let's be clear, he hates Kevin McCarthy, was determined
no doubt about it.
to find a way to get to today.
Let me be very clear.
And I think it's disgraceful, and I hope they expel him from the conference.
Well, that's, Newt is a serious man, and I have great respect for Newt Gingrich, and his opinion matters, that's for sure. Congressman Corey Mills, Republican Congressman Corey Mills, is one of the people that voted to oust, to expel, to get rid of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. Congressman Corey Mills.
The bottom line is that Kevin McCarthy knew exactly what the rules were when he came into Speaker. He understood what the motion to vacate would mean. I do agree with the 8 with regards to the things that may have been promised that wasn't delivered. I mean, we did ask for 12 appropriation bills by September 30th. That's not a floating holiday. So clearly that's important for us to be able to get that done so we can not only fund the government, but we can defund things like DOJ's weaponized FBI and the Jack Smith investigation, things like this.
Not a floating holiday, October 1st. That's a pretty good line. The FBI, the weaponized FBI being used by the left to target their political enemies and throwing innocent Americans in prison and so on. Congressman Corey Mills, one of the people who voted to get rid of the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
We were supposed to return to pre-COVID level spending. The whole idea was to cut spending, reform programs, and make sure that we grew our economy. And that really wasn't happening. And here we was on a CR. And remember, I voted no on both CRs. I do not believe in continuing resolutions. I do not believe in sitting an omnibus or an actual minibus across the table. But I think that right now, with the timing, we have 12 appropriation bills to finish within roughly 40 days. This may lead to another CR now that you've got McHenry, who has now adjourned us for a full week. That means no bills come to the floor, no policies come to the floor. The weaponized DOJ stays actually, fully funded. Our border remains open.
These are serious matters, and I would like to see the Republicans get a new speaker and get bills on the floor as quickly as possible.
Personally, if this was going to happen, I would rather have seen it happen after this month where we had the schedule to get the appropriation bills done. But now we're at an absolute freeze for the next week until we can actually get a new speaker in place, which what we need is a good, unifying, conservative, constitutionally based speaker who is willing to meet the mission to secure our border and to get our spending under control.
Keep in mind that Lara Logan points this out, too. Kevin McCarthy voted for same-sex marriage, vaccine mandates for the military, $100 billion plus for Ukraine, voted to use Medicare funds for the U.S. Postal Service, drafting women. He voted in favor of the January 6th committee. He voted for D.C. as the 51st state, and he voted for amnesty for DACA. You know, the Dreamers. Amnesty for the Dreamers. That's Kevin McCarthy, part of his record as well. You know, want to be a Republican? Be a Republican. Want to, you know the rest. Hey, do you have odors in your home that you just can't get rid of? Stinky odors. You can get rid of them all now with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. The Thunderstorm gets rid of strong odors from smoking cigarettes and litter boxes and trash cans and even leftists. The Thunderstorm starts working in a matter of seconds to clear any room of any odor, and there are no expensive filters to have to schedule and mail away for and replace. You can hold one in your hand, a Thunderstorm. Hundreds of thousands of units already sold, thousands of 5-star reviews online. You should check them out for yourself. And this week, I've got a great deal for you to get your own Thunderstorms, because right now you can save $200 when you buy 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms for whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. You know what the other guys cost? Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and enter the discount code CHRIS, CHRIS. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code is Chris, and you get free shipping. All right, running short on time. Got a bit more coming up. So much to talk about. Stay right there. Now, Congressman Jim Jordan has put out a Dear Colleague letter, definitely putting his own name into the running here for Speaker of the House. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is recommending very strongly President Trump. The only candidate for Speaker I am currently supporting is President Donald John Trump. President Trump in court today in New York because the Democrat abuses of power targeting their political enemies like the Bolsheviks that they are. President Trump was asked about, hey, there are people talking about you becoming Speaker of the House. What do you think of that?
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever is best for the country and for the Republican Party.
Would you take the job? Would you take the job?
We have some great people.
Would you take the job?
A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. We're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers. But we're leading by like 50 points for president. My focus is totally on that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it. But we have some great people in the Republican Party that could do a great job as Speaker.
President Trump at the courthouse in New York today. He is busy, but he's also Trump. And Marjorie Taylor Greene says he'll end the war in Ukraine, secure the border, end politically weaponized government, make America energy independent. All kinds of good stuff. It would be something to see, that's for sure. Who knows what's going to happen next?